The first time I heard it, I thought it was the wind. A soft hiss, curling through the cracks of my window in the dead hour between 1 and 2. It said my name, not clearly, but enough for the syllables to brush my ear like damp breath. I lived alone then, in a narrow room above the churchyard. My work as the parish gravedigger kept me near the ground even in sleep. The boards beneath my mattress still smelled faintly of earth, the kind of earth that clung to skin no matter how much you scrub. That night, I lay very still, staring at the beams above. The whisper came again. Lower this time. Almost patient. The graveyard below was not large, just 50 or so stones, but it was old. Some markers had worn flat as fallen teeth, others leaned in toward each other as if conspiring. I'd been digging there for 6 years, and I knew the soil's moods better than most men knew their wives. The next morning, I went about my work as usual. The wind carried the scent of wet leaves, frost laced the grass at the edges. Father Callan asked me to open a new grave for Mrs. Buckley, a shallow task, the frost not yet having sunk deep. I marked the spot by the crooked birch, took my spade, and let the rhythm of the work warm my limbs. Halfway through, my blade struck something not wood, not stone, but hollow. I scraped around it with my hands until I uncovered a splintered board. The coffin had collapsed inward. It wasn't unusual, the older ones often did, but something about this one made me stop. The wood inside was wet. Not from rain. A darker wetness, one that seeped rather than pooled. I told myself it was nothing. Closed the hole for now, left it to the next day. That night, the whisper came earlier. Just after the bell struck 12. My name, drawn out, the syllables stretched until they frayed. I rolled to the wall, pressing my ear to the cold plaster. It was not coming from outside. The churchyard was quiet in winter, but I had never felt it this still. The silence pressed on me, heavy enough to make the bones in my neck ache. The next day, I returned to the grave I had left unfinished. The frost had thawed enough to loosen the soil, and the damp smell rose thick from the ground. I removed the last of the collapsed boards, and inside, there were no bones. Only a length of linen, folded neatly, the kind used to wrap the dead before the coffin closed. It was clean. Too clean. I left the grave open and went to the rectory. Father Callan was away visiting the next parish. No one else would know the name meant for that plot until the funeral. That night, I locked my door. I lit a candle at my bedside and kept it burning low. But the whisper didn't need the dark. It came from the corner by the wardrobe, coiling up the wood, finding my ear no matter how I turned. It said my name again, and then, for the first time, something else. Come down. The words were no louder than the scrape of cloth on stone. By morning, my candle had guttered out. The villagers say the dead cannot call the living unless they are owed something. I had never owed anyone buried here. But that day, as I lowered Mrs. Buckley into her place, I noticed the grave beside hers was the one with no bones. The crooked birch leaned closer over it, its branches bare as fingers. I shoveled the last of the soil in and patted it down, telling myself the whisper was nothing but the tired tricks of my mind. But the ground beneath my boots felt soft. Too soft for winter. That night, I dreamt I was digging in the frost again. The earth gave way easily, as if it had been waiting for me. At the bottom, wrapped in that same clean linen, was not a body but the shape of one, hollow, like a mold. Its arms were folded, and its head was turned toward me, though there was no face. The whisper came from the hollow where its mouth should have been. I woke to find my boots standing at the foot of my bed, the leather damp, soles caked with fresh soil. The churchyard is not large, but some plots sink faster than others. The one by the crooked birch had dropped a full hand's width by morning. I felt it again. The whisper hasn't stopped. It no longer waits for midnight. It speaks from the ground when I walk above it, from the corner of my room when I lie down to rest, from the hollow of my own breath when I work. It no longer calls me by name. It just says, very softly, soon.